Iko Nini. So one of the headlines nilicheki jana ilikuwa ni Lenolkulal acquitted. Lenolkulal ikakuwa ni former Samburu governor Moses Lenolkulal is a free man after successfully appealing conviction in a 84 million graft case. The High Court says the state did not prove that he did business with the county government. So this has been the most interesting thing about High Court and there's whatever court. Nakumbuka like on Tuesday I was talking about how Waluke, after being found guilty and jailed for 67 years, ama fine ya 1 billion, got released and now he wants 1 billion for services he didn't render and for a product that he didn't deliver. Why? Because he's friends with Ruto. And these are the things that waga inakuwa very hard kutetea Ruto. Because these are your friends. And your friends are abusing the system. So now what happens? Lenolkulal, apparently, inasemekana, he kissed the ring. And somehow after you kiss Ruto's ring, something always happens. Your cases get dropped. Yes? And kama umesahau, Aisha Juma used to have a case. Ikakuwa dropped as soon as Ruto became president. Linturi alikuwa na kesi. Ikakuwa dropped as soon as Ruto became president. Who else? Gachagua alikuwa na kesi. Ikakuwa dropped as soon as Ruto became president. So kumekuwa na hiyo trend. Waluke guilty time ya Ruto, Uhuru innocent time ya Ruto after he became friends with Ruto. So even for Ruto to tell us that the judiciary is independent, now very interesting, because the judiciary is independent but your friends are free, but somehow your enemies are suffering. Damn, it seems like Ruto is busy listening to BN. All my enemies are suffering. Why? Because kuna mse moja alikuwa ameongea mbaya juu ya Ruto na huyo mse anaitwa Waititu. And Waititu's case of course ni very different. Tunarudi back to Lenolkulal, but Waititu aliongea mbaya. I think don't know nini ilikuwa imemdanganya kuongea mbaya, because I remember baadaye nikireview story na nikisema like he should have waited. Najua don't talk shit before you know what's going to happen. So wacha tusikize history ya Waititu pale imefika.
Former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu continues to face illegal challenges besides the graft case in which he was found guilty and sentenced. He now faces criminal case. Waititu, who is serving a sentence for corruption-related offences at Committee Maximum Prison, was charged over remarks he allegedly made in Kiambu County at Ruiru Stadium last year, September 29th. Comments that the prosecutors say were likely to provoke a breach of peace. The prosecution told the court that the remarks targeted groups including hustlers, market vendors, boda operators and clergy, and were meant to incite tension. The alleged conduct is said to have conflicted with Section 94(1) of the Penal Code. The court has set the matter for next week, with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution pursuing the case as Waititu remains behind bars at Committee Maximum Prison.
Asikia hiyo. The remarks that he made. So if I'm not wrong, this was in the height of stories that the Gen Z protest I think had happened. Then I think straight after, was it Ruto kuwa impeached? But I remember he said something about Ruto. It was more about Ruto more than hustlers and what. So he could have incited people against the government more than against each other and against hustlers and what and what. But sasa tunachiki ye mwenye alikuwa found guilty of corruption and amekuwa kiapili story na inakuwa ni haipati. Alafu saizi of course even if he was to kiss the ring right now he's desperate, so Ruto won't take it like he's unajua, and what value is he bringing? He cannot bring the mountain to Ruto, so it's too late for him to kiss the ring. But to go back to story ya Lenolkulal, one of the things I remember, like when I saw the story and I saw that he'd been acquitted, ile kitu nilikaa mtu nilibaki nimeandika, I think the judiciary is a joke. Na the judiciary Kenya inakuwaga a joke kwa nini? Because ikam to story ya Lenolkulal, another piece of news that was there ni just last week kulikuwa na court acquits former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero in 213 million shillings corruption case. So yes. So nachikio, court ilibaki imeacquit anaitwa Kidero. So Kidero ilipatikana there's no enough evidence to charge him, blah blah blah. Same na I think earlier this year 2 years ago ilikuwa ni Sonko pia ilipatikana there's no enough evidence. Sonko this year ameenda pakirudishiwa I think around 500 million alibaki amerudishiwa, and 500 million alirudishiwa after alikuwa tayari amepromise kupatia Harambee Stars 400 million. That means he has so much money for him to have been aweze kusema atapatiana 400 million. You can try and imagine where is this money coming from. You'll find some Kenyan somewhere saying that this is coming from the matatu business. Okay, what sort of matatus are these making all this money? I think sometimes we underestimate how much a billion is, and it's just one of those things that happens in Kenya. And apart from Kenya, kuna kuwaga na hii kitu like it's a worldwide phenomenon where it's said that a lot of people feel think that they can be billionaires. So in the process, every time you question a billionaire's wealth, they feel like you're questioning them. Na sasa unapata mtu ana dream kuwa billionaire, yeye mwenyewe hajafika millionaire status, but it's just a human thing where we lie to ourselves that either we'll win the lottery or we'll I don't know what, ama Sonko atakuachia kwa wili yake. People have these wild fantasies. So when you question how Sonko can be a billionaire, how Kidero can be a billionaire, and all these politicians are billionaires and we can't see their businesses, like what sort of business is this that you run that we can't see? Inakuwa ni shida. So after Kidero, so now Amenasir alibaki amepost akasema Kenyans wake up and fight JURISPESA judges before Kenya dies. And what did he do? Alibaki amepost hizo mbili. Court acquits Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero, alafu Lenolkulal acquitted. Cause all these cases, somehow mysteriously there's never enough evidence, but in everything else there's enough evidence. But he come to corruption cases, like if someone was to steal a chicken, there's always enough evidence to jail them and put them in jail forever. But somehow ikikuja ni story na a Kenyan politician who's being prosecuted, somehow there's never enough evidence, and you have to wonder like what the hell is happening here? Yes, I find it to be super weird. But nikitoka hapo acha niruke Ufaransa kidogo. So majuzi I think tulimention hii story tukiwa na Ian. Ilikuwa ni Sarkozy alikuwa like jailed. Alafu sasa another headline ilikuwa ni former French President Sarkozy granted release from prison after 3 weeks. I think alikuwa jailed for 5 years. Saizi amekuwa released after 3 weeks, and it just shows you how the rich are untouchable in basically all parts of the world. The difference is hata vile inasemekanaga he was corrupt in a way that does not affect France as a country. Najua hakuwa naiba like taxpayers money za France compared to sisi on the other side inakuwaga ni corruption ile inabaki ikiumiza the whole country. But still it shows you how najua like kuna raya tu ziko above the law and there's nothing you can do about it. Apart from that pia kuna story nyingine pia nilicheki ya Walami. So kulikuwa na story ya 3 men jailed for ngono with cow, goat, 9 horses and an unknown number of dogs. So ilikuwa ni 3 men face more than 1400 counts each of ngono abusing animals at a Pennsylvania farm. So damn, hii mpaka hiyo jina Pennsylvania I think na need kuisoma kaa Kenya jo, cause hizi raya jo ziko ni at a Pennsylvania farm jo, cause itakuwaje? Damn, like ng'ombe, mbuzi, alafu 9 horses. I'm there like, why not 8 horses? Why not 10 horses? Why 9? Huh? Nachoresha ama tayari farasi imechora 7. Okay, I don't know. But somehow, 9 horses and an unknown number of dogs. Yeah. So, hizi ndizo stories za Walami. Naonga kuna tabia zingine ulikuwa nafikiriaga kitambo that they'd never happen in the first world countries. Naonga ile kabla tukamkujua that Walami wagametuambao tukaasisi. Tulikuwa tunajidanganyaga that kuna crimes zile happen huko na hazi happen yani huhappen hapa Kenya na happen huko. Tuko nadanganya gwani kwa time ungeniuliza, especially nikiwa mtoi, ungeniuliza kawa lami wote wanajua mathematics, ningekwambia of course wana understand. Then later in life you come to understand that these people are just as clueless as the rest of us. You come to stories hizi vitu zote, like hakuna, there's nothing special, but nakuonyesha of course as mtoi mujitetea nasema it's about the environment that had grown up in, because in that environment walami walikuwaga like my god was a white man, najua. So of course lazima ningeka wazungu at a certain level that they are not in necessarily. Ekonene, nimeinterrupt show kukuremind juu ya LemFi. Kama uko US ama Canada na unataka kutuma do Kenya, register kwa LemFi ukitumia promo code Ekonene. Hii itakuguarantee $20 cashback on your first $100 transaction. Alafu pia time una register, make sure umetick the 2 checkboxes za notifications ndio ukireceive info about amazing offers through newsletters. Na pia usijali, LemFi hawatumagi hizi maletters za, yani unajua like ma messages za kipumbavu. Pia usisahau every time una transact $50 and above una earn points. Na the more una transact, the more points you earn and you can redeem them as cash ile time unatuma pesa. Alafu pia kitu nanibamba kabisa ni saizi ukitumia LemFi muzabaki umelipa pay bills na till numbers directly. That means muzabaki handle bills za maparo wako ukiwa hizo maside za States ama maside za Canada. Alafu pia we mwenyewe as a LemFi user baki umetafuta ile button imeandikwa get USD $20, ubaki umeinvite mabeste zako, na ukiinvite mabeste zako on their first $100 transaction unapata pesa ngapi? $20 cashback. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, ingia LemFi. LemFi, international payments for everyone. Ekonene. But tukitoka hapo acha turudi Kenya. Kenya on Monday, the story that was trending ilikuwa ni story courtesy of Obina Show, na story ilikuwa ni Jobo and Sami Kioko. So Sami Kioko inasemekana alifanyaga some work for the Machakos County government, and till today they've never paid him. And yeah, it's one of those stories that got really emotional, and yeah, kuzumsa nasema now he's losing everything. Inakusemekanaga kufanya kazi na like county government inakuwaga very risky, but sir, an interesting story ended up happening courtesy of that. Wacha tusikize.
I've been sent a text, Mambiwa, hi Obina, the communication team is kindly asking you to stop calling SKM either online or offline. They say you are crossing the line. Kindly stop.
So kauna shindwa SKM ni nini? Ni Steven Kalonzo Musyoka. And kuna stories zingine zile unaonaga just ignore. Do not ask Obina not to ask for help. Just ignore. Don't talk about it, because this ends up painting you in a negative way. You'd rather say that, you know, the way devolution works, I cannot get involved because that would be corruption. Like, as in, give it some political sort of argument, but to come out and say that Obina afai kwa contact, it's very, I don't know how to put it, but acha tuendelee.
So apparently I'm crossing the line by trying to help another young man find a solution to his problem. If that is crossing the line, I'm okay with it. Okay, it's not for selfish gain, it's not for self-interest, it's for another young man just to be nini. And then you see what I just said, it's never the leader. Leader mwenye ameniambia ni aje, call me tomorrow at 10, baka nigeka calendar. But now the communication team is feeling like I'm crossing the line. By just calling the leader, nimwambia ni aje, huyu boy amekama hapa, how can we help? Now that is where we go wrong with our leadership. Sometimes you find a problem can be sorted, but the people around, when you're kona roho mbaya mbaya wanakaa chini, hata kesho utaona tu, hata mimi nanyorosho huko online natukana, but hiyo mambo nimezoea.
So history ya Kalonzo ni tricky because there's one story that niliwaipatiwa hapa IKONINI, and I won't say who gave me the story, but it's one of those stories that I don't know if I should ask Kalonzo about it. But the story is, back in the days, the person who gave me the story ended up asking me to edit out that part. But he told me that back in the days when Kalonzo was the vice president, there's a specific place he used to go to for lunch, and ilikuwa in Upper Hill. and lazima wajue like ikikam to presidency for 2027 nimekuwa kicheki mimi mwenyewe nimekuwa nikihype Kalonzo nikisema like this is the guy who I think would calm the temperatures down and what and that has not changed, but I still have to give this story. Musamaga, like sometimes when you are giving someone's story you have to give the whole story, you have to give the bad and the good. So the story is Kalonzo alikuwa anaishiaga hii place na for lunch. Remember, he's the vice president, so he used to go with the whole entourage and they used to go to this one restaurant that they loved, ama this one eating place that they loved, and the guy was never paid. Alikuwa naambiwa like utalipwa baadaye, and I don't know how many times they ate there, but the guy made so many losses that baadaye he had to close the place down because he never got paid. This is a story that I think one of the things Lenta try to find out is if I can get the name of that mzee, and hopefully the guy who gave me this story one day tells this story in front of a camera. But he used to be an intern kwa ofisi ya Kalonzo. If you've watched Iko Nini long enough, nakumbuka ni nani? Hopefully hautakumbuka. But kuna msa alikuwa na wako kwa nini, so alikuwa nasema they used to be that he used to be an intern, and they used to be hiyo kuna place walikuwa naendaga wanadishi ye mwenyewe sijui alikuwa naenda. I don't think him used to go, but he knows about people from that office used to go to this specific place, and that man was never paid. And that's the messed up thing, because what was he supposed to say? Was he supposed to say that the vice president of a country cannot eat in that place? And so yeah, these are the messed up things. These are the few things that ufanyaga saa zingine una doubt Kenyan politicians, because you're like, out of all this we can't just get one person who's super clean. And so yeah, I don't know if this is a story that I think if the guy who told me the story was to tell me to ask Kalonzo, of course, and I'd ask, like, if I ever get another chance, I'd ask him about that, like, why do that to someone? So this person ended up having to close down the restaurant. Of course, all those employees lost their jobs and what, because you can try and imagine feeding an entourage for an African politician. It's not a small crowd, it's not two people showing up, najua it's whatever, and they show up and they eat and they go. You're a private citizen, all those are losses, acheki. But wacha tuendelee na history ya Kioko.
But now when you look at it the way it happens sometimes, the same thing even happens sometimes for the president. You'll find even the people, wale communication team ya president watakama say, no, nini. But sometimes the president is not even, akosile mimi sikuwa na idea. I just hosted Kasmuel today. And Kasmuel akasema yeye alikuwa anafanya kitu anaambiwa, baba amekasirika, baba nini. But anamiti baba akosile, niaje, uko fiti, umekula. Twende hivi, panda kwa chopa, ingia pa kwa gari, twende shika hii kidogo, nimejua uko vizuri, tembea hivi. So sometimes the people around the leadership are normally the problem.
So with that, the argument can be that it come to even that them eating, Kalonzo used to assume that the bills are being paid, but the reality was the bills were not getting paid, and that person ended up suffering and they had to close down their business. That's the argument we'd have. But for how long are we supposed to say, kumbuka time ya Uhuru Simba ni wale wamemzunguka? Like, for how long can we have that argument? At some point, the leaders themselves have to take responsibility and be like, you know what, this is my responsibility. If I show up at a place, I need to know, is this person getting paid? I can't be too busy. If I'm not too busy to eat, I can't be too busy when it comes to payment. I have to understand, is these payments being made?
So in this case, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo is not a problem. I've called him na Katias, that is Kalonzo bro, sijakolo mosh. Na nikamtext, hi Soga Obina, call me back when possible. Kanambia call me tomorrow 10 a.m. But the communication team wanna feel, huyu jamaa mazame cross line. Amuko mnataka imfikie. Okay, how do you want to help this young man? Because now Wakenya wako hapa wanachangisha what atungefaa tuchangishe. Sasa tuko na mama fulani ako hospitali mali, kuna mtoto amelala njaa, zile vitu Rikumoni anafanyanga. That is now where Wakenya wanakam. But if our systems are working, we would not be doing that. Like we would be doing other things, but now we are changaing for someone who is capable, who has been working, na kena na pesa yake kama mali na kanyoroshwa. Tunachanga ndi at least apate way ya kumanage kidogo, shikilia hapa na pale. because of the systems and some of you people who are surrounding our leadership. That is the problem.
Same. I think hapo Obina alibaki amepatia the benefit of doubt, and the guy who gave me ile story the eating place did not give the former vice president and 2027 presidential candidate your benefit of doubt. He felt like he knew, and yeah, so msena kunga kiniambia like mwafu nimesikia umesifu Kalonzo, but I never give Kalonzo my vote because of 1, 2, 3. So that's another story that I had. Nacheki, and mkosushwa kuna sata kwa like mwafu but uli interview nani. Kuna, I think wasiwaga na assume hivyo that just when you interview someone you're just supposed to say positive things about them. No. You have to put the positive plus the negative. So the positive is they I'd expect less less what extrajudicial killings, although with that I'm also, it's a system thing. So would he be harsh enough to tell them to stop kuwa Kenya? I don't know, but I'd expect less, and but still that was wrong. Your story Adishi was wrong, Nacheki. And yeah, this is also a cautionary tale for people out there. Like if anyone ever shows up at your place, they have to pay. If they don't pay the first time, the second time they show up just because wakona mheshimiwa wanaweza kataa. And nowadays kuna video, just record. If they are going to loot, wacha loot tu hapo kama serikali, lakini don't do yourself something where you end up running yourself out of business because you're trying to please nini. But yeah, that was a story niko nafuatilia, hii story ya Sami Kioko, and it reminded me of that story that was once given, but I was asked to edit out. So damn, but that would have been a good story ungesikia from the horse's mouth. But yeah, and yeah, I guess ni good afternoon. Iko Nini.